WWE interested in bringing back FTR? Of course they are. Of course they are. Let AEW do the work and then WWE reap the benefits. Where is Bray Wyatt? When could we see Bray Wyatt return to WWE or AEW? And why it will not happen right now, according to Dave Meltzer. Jack Evans leaves AEW and why he left. And also, Alexa Bliss upset with WWE Creative. She went right to Vince McMahon to voice her displeasure. What is going on with Miss Bliss? All this plus so much more right here as I got a little bit of extra for you on Off the Script.
Why is AEW successful? Why is Tony Khan running his promotion better than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are running Monday night and Friday night? Long-term booking.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for stopping by the channel once again today. I got a little bit of extra for you. It is April 20th, 2022. I am JD from New York, as always, coming to you from the OTS venue. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on this Wednesday afternoon, wherever you may be. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Hit that thumbs up as well. Let's try for 1,000 likes minimum on today's OTS Extra. And we will be live tonight for AEW Dynamite. Tony Khan's latest major announcements. The Owen Hart Cup qualifiers continue, and a coffin match between Darby Allin and Andrade El Idolo in the main event tonight. I can't forget Hook and his AEW Dynamite debut tonight. So it should be great. We'll be live from the OTS venue, Jesse and I, to get you guys caught up and give you our expertise, our opinions on everything coming out of tonight's big Dynamite. So join us live on YouTube after the show goes off the air. WWE, they want a lot of AEW's talents, man. FTR is the latest in the string of talent that WWE want to acquire from Tony Khan. Fightful is reporting that WWE is expressing interest in bringing back the Revival, pun intended, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. Fightful is reporting that WWE is interested, but AEW says that both Dax and Cash have 1 year left on their deals. So it looks like Tony Khan has picked up or will pick up the 1 year option on both. Last December, FTR told Barstool Wrestling that they did not have long on their current deals. And they say, and I quote, "Because we don't have much longer on these current contracts, I don't know what's going to happen from there, but we have a short amount of time to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish." Now, Dax was on a flight, I believe, going to Mexico, and he actually had a Q&A while he was about to board on the plane, and somebody asked him on Twitter, I'll even show you guys the tweet, Dax said that they would go back to the WWE and have not ruled out a return to the WWE, but they said they would go back if the money and circumstances were right. Now, during their last WWE run, they were putting a bunch of comedy segments. The one that I think everybody remembers is the Usos spying on them in the shower together and Cash shaving Dax and his back hair. Absolutely. I know. It sounds so foreign to even think about something like that happening. Seeing what we're seeing with FTR now, them being the best tag team in the world, and them maybe being on the verge of winning the AEW Tag Team Championships to add to the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, to add to the AAA Tag Team Championships, and them having two of the match of the year candidates this year alone with the Briscoes and the Young Bucks. I don't really understand how you could even go back and think that's what they want to go back to. I don't get it. I don't get it. We'll talk about more of this on the flagship podcast this week for episode 427, but I don't think that FTR is going to go back, and I do think that they are very happy in AEW. But the thing is, my opinion on all of this is it's fucking ridiculous how WWE, they allow all of these people to just grow unhappy in their company creatively. These guys, all they wanted to do was wrestle. So they go to a place that allows them to wrestle. They work for somebody in Tony Khan that allows them to be who they are and allows them to wrestle. He pairs them with MJF. They don't really need MJF, but I love the pairing of the Pinnacle, and I think the Pinnacle is awesome. But they do what they do, and look at how good they are. And what would they end up going back to? I don't understand what they're going back to. It's the same fucking teams that are being pushed when they were there, and they haven't been there for 2 years. Look at the tag team state in both divisions on Raw and SmackDown that were about to get merged. I don't understand it. What are you going back to? You're going back for a paycheck. It's so much more than just a paycheck. WWE now wants them. It comes off as if they allow AEW to do their own homework. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, go to AEW. Let AEW do all the work. And when you're ready, we'll take you back. It's almost as if WWE is showing you how clueless they are. Oh, that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to wrestle. Now we know you could do that and be major stars and make money. Why didn't you come back over here? Give me a break. Give me a fucking break, man. This is absolutely ridiculous, and WWE could shove it right up their fucking pee hole for all I'm concerned. It's ridiculous. I don't think FTR, right now they're not going anywhere, so don't worry about it, but I don't think FTR is in a state where they have any interest in going back to WWE. Somebody that I think a lot of people would like to see go back to WWE is Bray Wyatt. Now, we got a lot of creepy characters happening on WWE TV. We got Edge doing this Brood shit, and we got Joe Gacy in NXT playing Batman and Riddler with fucking Braun Breaker. Bray Wyatt apparently is the master of the creepy character on WWE television. He did it perfectly. I thought he was a very good in-ring performer, but he was a better promo and a better, I would say, storyteller than he was in-ring performer. Bray Wyatt, there are rumors that he could end up with AEW. His family says that he's not done with wrestling by a long shot. He and his brother Bo Dallas are not done with wrestling by a long shot. But a lot of people are saying, well, he should go to AEW. But the rumor now is, and this was reported yesterday, that Bray Wyatt's asking price to return to pro wrestling, whether it's with WWE or AEW, is very high. Now, granted, he knows what he's worth, and he knows what he could bring to the table, and I think we all kind of know what he could bring to the table as well. I don't want to say he's a game changer because that term gets thrown around a lot, but he is somebody that is going to make a huge difference. And he's going to make a huge difference as far as merchandise sales alone. So, Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, could return at any moment. We don't know. He said it personally. It will have to be when the time and circumstances are right. Since his WWE release in last July, Wyatt has not done anything inside a wrestling ring. The only wrestling-related thing he's done was an appearance at WrestleCon, and he's filmed a movie in Hollywood, and he's been kind of hanging around online, chattering about when he could possibly show up, what the right circumstances would be. But right now, it doesn't look like an in-ring return for Wyndham Rotunda is imminent. In a Twitter post about WWE's recent interest in FTR, Dave Meltzer stated that WWE would be interested in any top AEW act right now, and AEW would be interested in any top WWE act. It works both ways. And there will be defections from both companies. I think we all pretty much know this. Wyatt was brought up in this discussion and was rumored to be making the jump to AEW several months ago, but there has not been anything reported on that in quite some time. A fan asked Dave Meltzer, what is the interest in Wyatt from AEW or WWE? And Meltzer responded, and I quote, his asking price is very high. I don't really think this is a surprise to anybody, but I do think that whatever company takes on Wyatt, and this is just me thinking out loud because this is where he was when he was with WWE. If any company is going to take on Wyatt and pay him what he wants, you're going to recoup that money back in a multitude of ways. Merchandise in itself. If Wyatt showed up in AEW, he'd be the number one merch seller on the same night he debuts with the company. Same thing with WWE. He was already the number one merch seller in WWE before they fired him unceremoniously. He was the number one merch seller out of anybody in the company. So if you honestly think that WWE isn't afraid, I've seen this discussion pop up as well. If you think WWE isn't afraid to fire a top merchandise seller, then you are heavily, heavily mistaken, because they fired Bray Wyatt at the top of the merchandise charts in WWE when he was there, and then they let him go. So I think any company that wants to bring him in, they're going to recoup that money, and it's going to be a great return on their investment. It's up to Bray Wyatt, and I honestly think at the end of the day, Bray Wyatt, what he wants is, how is his character going to be treated? This is a man that right now has trust issues. He goes anywhere, he's not going to trust anybody with his intellectual property, with his creativity, with his mind. That is the most important thing to him. And to get him to do what you want him to do, you're going to have to pay the hefty price of what he's asking for. But this is a man that has trust issues. Look at what WWE has done to him. Look at what they've done to The Fiend. Look at what they've done to his creation. They ruined it. They gave it to a female. They gave it to Alexa Bliss, and it was fucking destroyed. They mocked it. They played with it. They stole it from him. This is a man that is going to be asking for a very high price, and I quite honestly don't blame him. So, Bray Wyatt, will we see him? I do think we do, but it's going to be when the time is right for him. He wants everything to go the way he wants, and he's going to make people wait, because I honestly think that what he brings to the table is going to be something that we've never seen before, and he is one of the most creative minds in the business out there, and I think that with what he's asking for is worth the money. Alexa Bliss, speaking of stealing The Fiend's gimmick and the powers of The Fiend, Alexa Bliss reportedly told Vince McMahon she's unhappy with WWE Creative. Hey, yo, honey, that makes two of us. That makes two of us. That makes a whole fucking community of us. Alexa Bliss, according to Fightful, has been vocal about her displeasure with WWE Creative. Bliss has not been on TV and has been hinting on social media that she's been ready to return, and she does not know why she's been off TV after the company began airing vignettes for her return in January. Bliss hasn't appeared on TV since the one-off match that she did inside the Elimination Chamber in February. The report states that Creative pitched for Bliss to be involved in the Becky Lynch-Bianca Belair feud, but that was shot down, and the priority of Bliss's booking has shifted significantly after the vignettes. It was also noted by Bliss, that Bliss has been very transparent about her frustration after nothing of substance has been booked for her after being gone for half a year. Fightful added, and I quote, "The talent that we've heard from said that there was also discussion backstage that Bliss had voiced this directly to Vince McMahon." Now, I did report on Saturday on episode 426 that Alexa Bliss is slotted to be the number 2 babyface on Monday Night Raw after Bianca Belair, and Becky Lynch is the number 1 heel on Monday Night Raw, and there really isn't anybody to follow her in that category on that list for Monday nights. Alexa Bliss does not need to be a babyface, number 1. Number 2, we need to bring Alexa Bliss back to being the goddess Alexa Bliss. Number 3, she needs to be a heel. She needs to be a heel. She needs to be the one going after Bianca Belair, not fighting underneath Bianca Belair on the internal list of baby faces in the WWE. As I look at it now, Bianca Belair has no opponents outside of a possible Rhea Ripley, with her turning heel on Monday night, and Sonya Deville after we get done with this one-off storyline that we're doing with Sonya Deville and Bianca Belair. We've seen and done the Becky Lynch shit. Bayley is also an option. Asuka is also an option, but there really isn't much of anything on WWE's plate for Bianca Belair, which I've made a big uproar about when I've talked about this championship run that she was going to embark on after WrestleMania It's not how she wins the title or who she wins the title against, because Becky Lynch did jack shit for Bianca Belair. It's what you do in the follow-up with Bianca Belair. How are you going to make this title run better than what you did with Sasha Banks? And WWE, from my point of view, is off to an already poor situation with Bianca Belair. Let's be real. But Alexa Bliss needs to go back to being a heel. She needs to go back to being the goddess. I don't even think at this point, I think fans just want to see her back on television. I don't care either way. I mean, if she was released, I wouldn't give a shit one way or the other. She just doesn't bring any value or sense of must-see to the television as far as I'm concerned. But if WWE wants to bring her back to television, they already have all those vignettes that they did with her in the doctor's office with the skits that they cut, hopefully shedding the Fiend gimmick or the Fiend powers and getting rid of all this Lily bullshit. If they just brought her back to TV and she showed up as what she was before the Fiend, I think everybody would be happy. I just think people want to see Alexa Bliss on TV. And let's be real, we may not like her here. She has her legions of fans, as we all know. And I honestly think her not being as terrible as I kind of make her out to be, a body like that, Alexa Bliss, and a name like that needs to be in the women's division. She needs to be on TV because the depth of the women's division, both on Raw and SmackDown right now, are in one of the worst states I've ever seen. It's just like the men's tag team division. So we need to do something to get her back on television quick, because I do think that they need her on television just by the current state of the women's division, which I do hope they eventually go and unify those titles as well, just like they're going to do a Backlash with the men's tag team championship. So Alexa Bliss right now, creatively unfulfilled. She went right to Vince McMahon to voice her displeasure. We will keep an update on what's going on with that. And I've seen a lot of people saying, well, she may end up getting released. And then I see another group of people saying, oh, WWE would never release Alexa Bliss. She's a top merchandise seller. What did I just tell you about Bray Wyatt? Bray Wyatt was released being a #1 merch seller for WWE, and they didn't blink a fucking eye when they let him go. So don't think that WWE, because they have nothing with Alexa Bliss going on, that they won't end up releasing Alexa Bliss. They don't give a shit about anybody, and your favorites are included. Jack Evans may not be a name that you guys care about, but he left AEW. Fans are pulling at the tug-of-rope here, or the tug-of-war. They're having a tug-of-war with Jack Evans on social media. Some fans think that AEW did wrong by not bringing back Jack Evans and giving him another contract for AEW. Jack Evans actually defended the company on social media. It was reported at the start of 2022 that a number of AEW contracts will be expiring in the coming weeks. Big Swole, Leo Rush, Joey Janela, Marco Stunt, Brandy Rhodes, and now Jack Evans. This is how business is done, you fucking geeks. So AEW contracts are expiring, and we may see a number of others not be brought back to the promotion. One person that we know that will not be re-signing with AEW is Jack Evans. He announced on Twitter yesterday that he will not be staying with AEW as his contract expires at the end of April. He said this on social media: my time with AEW has been a fun and enjoyable one, but it has come to an end as I will not be re-signed when my contract ends at the end of April. I'd like to thank everyone at AEW and the AEW fans for the opportunity. End quote. Most fans were very accepting of his impending departure and wished him well for the future. However, there were those who immediately started to insult AEW for not re-signing him. Interestingly enough, Evans immediately came to the support of AEW and explained it's just how the wrestling business works. And in some cases, he said he did not perform the way that they wanted him to do, and he put the blame solely on himself. Jack Evans, as far as I'm concerned, is a fucking class act. This is not the same as WWE releasing 200 people during the fucking pandemic in the middle of a pandemic. AEW paid everybody in the middle of the pandemic, and the only one that they fired was, what's his name? Jimmy Havoc. They let him go because he got blasted during the speaking out movement, so they let him go. And this is not the same thing because Tony Khan, in the middle of the pandemic, paid everybody. And when we got back to running business as usual, full crowds in attendance, he's looking at the line sheet, the payroll for 2022, and he's going to look at who he doesn't need and who he wants to keep on the payroll. And unfortunately, the names that I just mentioned to you in this report, they are no longer there. I don't see what the big deal is. All of the year ones, most of the year ones are going to be ushered out. They did their job. They helped set AEW right, and they helped the foundation of AEW in the first year. And now they're not needed anymore because Tony Khan is bringing in bigger names, more established names, and everybody that helped, you're going to be in the annals of AEW history, but it's just business. We needed you then. We don't need you now. I don't understand why everybody's making a big deal about somebody like Jack Evans leaving AEW. He was very classy about it. So why aren't the fans classy as well in regards to Jack Evans? Why do they got to make everything about AEW and WWE? I don't know. And somebody else that may be leaving WWE, man, this is quite the shame and it's quite pathetic. We watched NXT last night, or maybe you didn't. I don't blame you if you didn't. The Grizzled Young Veterans went up against Legado del Fantasma last night. The Grizzled Young Veterans cut a promo, but I watched this promo as a WWE.com exclusive, and the vibe of the entire promo was that of they are done in WWE because this, and we know how Drake and Gibson are on television, this was a complete polar opposite. I don't know what they got going on there, but it looks like the Grizzled Young Veterans, they may be done with WWE. In a backstage interview segment with Mackenzie Mitchell, Drake and Gibson stated that fans will not be seeing them on NXT anymore. Drake has even taken to Twitter and posted a photo of his Performance Center locker writing, "Thank you, WWE." I hope to God that this is legit because ever since they've gotten there and ever since new management have taken over, they have seemed directionless and there is no interest in pushing these two guys for whatever reason. I don't understand it. The former Grizzled Young Veterans, they are no longer the Grizzled Young Veterans. If you watch NXT last night, they took their tag team name and now they are just Drake and Gibson. They've been teaming together in WWE since 2018. They became one of the best tag teams in the entire company. If you go back and watch NXT TakeOver Blackpool for NXT UK and go watch their match with Mustache Mountain, Trent Seven, and what's his name? Tyler Bate. One of the best tag team matches ever in WWE. Ever. There's no reason why these guys can't succeed on the main roster. They were fucking phenomenal. The Grizzled Young Veterans, since 2018, they began regularly appearing for NXT here in the United States in late 2020. The team's departure seems to be a storyline, but the vibe of it really gave me hope that they may be on their way out. They may have contracts coming up. As we saw Kushida leave the company, he felt like NXT was not treating him right. It was an embarrassment. Everybody that really is associated with Kushida felt the same thing about him. I read in a report after the initial report came out, they were very, very upset at how WWE was booking Kushida in a comedy storyline with Ike and Jiro. And I hope that they're on their way out. I don't really have hope for them going anywhere on NXT. I don't think they'll be called up to the main roster, but it's worth noting that the tease might just be a way to introduce a name change, a different take on the Grizzled Young Veterans. And we got all this Vince McMahon bullshit lately with the edicts and the memos that went out about not wanting wrestlers to use their ring names before they had joined the WWE. They had their names, and then when they joined the company, they all had things changed on them. But I don't know what's going on with this and the Grizzled Young Veterans. I hope that this is legit and they are on their way out. We may have a contract situation coming up, but it does look more than likely a storyline, and I'll keep an eye on this because I honestly think Drake and Gibson, when they're allowed to go in that ring, they are one of the best tag teams in all of pro wrestling, and especially in WWE. Guys, that's all I got for this extra. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think down below. Hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes minimum on today's OTS Extra. I will be back tonight during AEW Dynamite with the live stream post show on Off the Script. And Friday, I'll be back live for SmackDown and Rampage. And then this weekend, again, episode 427, man, we're going to blow the top off Triple H and the interview he did with The Athletic. We're going to break it down. He finally speaks on all of the changes done to NXT and what we see now with NXT 2.0. Thank you guys so very much. Again, follow me on social media at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell for all notifications. And I will see you guys live tonight with Jesse in the venue for AEW Dynamite and the live stream post show. I'll see you guys later.